good morning to you and welcome to Wednesday's transmission of the program Morning Ride. My name is Francis Ofue. Saying again, welcome on behalf of the board, management and staff of the station, Delta Television. We are the people's pride. And with me this morning is Perpetua Boba.
Good morning, Francis.
All right, good morning to you, Perpetua. Happy January 14 to you. I don't know what exactly it is, but I believe that every day leads us to another year. So we'll be celebrating the 1st of January 2026. Remember that the 15th day or 14th day of January leads you to the 1st day of January 2027. So every day should be celebrated. So happy January 14 to you, if I say it that way. And yes, today is also World Logic Day, a day that we look at how our reasoning faculty can help us assimilate, understand, execute ideas. But that's a way to have preference right there. Top of the morning to you and welcome to Wednesday's transmission of the program Morning Ride on Delta Television, the People's Pride. We must apologize if we are pegged 3 times on screen. Maybe we're just trying to make sure that everything is in order, all for you. My name is Francis Ofue, saying welcome on behalf of the board, management and staff of this establishment. And with me is no other person but
Perpetua.
It's good to have you this morning.
Good morning, Francis.
Very good morning to you too. Well, I said earlier on, just when you couldn't hear us very much, that happy January 14 to you, Perpetua Boba, and to you, my dear audience. And people wonder, why say happy January 14? Well, this is my logic. It is quite expedient to know that every day leads you to the new year that you celebrate on the January 1. Every single day. If you remove 14th January from your life, there will be no 1st of January 2027 in your life. Remember that and cherish today. It is quite overly, entirely, absolutely important. Now, talking about the logic of what I've just said, today is World Logic Day. Well, it's a day to use your head like sachet water hawkers. Use your head very well. But this time, your medulla oblongata, your brain. Think and reason things before you decide or before you make decisions. Perpetua.
And also, the World Logic Day is also a day set aside to bring up arguments in different fields. It's very, very good to disagree on some issues. Yeah. I think the problem that we have in this area of the world is how we disagree and the language we use at the process of trying to state our points or bring our points to the fore. So today being World Logic Day is a day that is set aside to, embrace argument. There are also ways of learning and improving on the knowledge we have from different fields of endeavors, talking about science, religion, medicine. The list is endless. And of course, a day set aside for you to think for yourself. Even as babies, as children, there's so much that our parents can do for us in as much as we want to take it or leave it. They are not going to help us make all the decisions we need to make all of our lives. At some point, we've got to think it through and tell ourselves, you know what, away from my parents, away from my siblings, away from my guardians, I have taken this path and I have chosen to follow it because I have thought about it and I have believed that this is true and this hold firm to my beliefs and what I want. That's also the power of logic. Yeah.
Yes, you said that very right. And when you mentioned argument, a little thing came to mind. I was seeing a video recently and a therapist was trying to share her perspectives or her 2 cents on what makes a marriage indeed powerful or work. She said there's a particular feature in any good relationship or marriage. She said it's not, in a marriage, it's not about how many children they have, how happy they seem, or how much they meet each other intimately, but it's mostly about how often they argue and know how to come back together as one. So yes, he said how they are used to argument and coming back together. So when you see a couple or people in a relationship that don't have any argument, no debate, no misunderstanding, there is something fishy about their relationship. Yes, because it means they are walking on eggshells.
Right.
That's why they cannot communicate their differences. Remember, we're in a world full of people with different ideas, different understanding, and in this world we are in marriage with each other. Every moment we stay with ourselves. There is this symbolic marriage we share at that time, a union of the rest of us. And what makes it happen is that we must agree to disagree, but understand that these arguments are not meant to destroy, but to build and to prefer a better way, to have a better us and to live better and happily ever after. Right. Now, there are some people who are maybe not living happily ever after. I'm talking about men who would have stood, or women too, who would have stood in the front line trying to ensure that Nigeria is safe. Now, in 1970, thereabout, there was a Nigerian civil war that really did loads of devastation. Lasted 3 years, thereabout. And after the civil war was done, I remember the head of state back then said, no victor, no vanquish. But then something symbolic was marked on that day. That is the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, just thereafter, to celebrate those who have put their lives on the front line, fighting for the peace and stability of Nigeria. Fast forward to how many years later? Over 55 years, 55 years or 56 years later, we are going through an era when we might be taking the armed forces with a pinch of salt. Tomorrow, January 15, is Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And we remember them with our hearts, knowing full well that they are big parcels of the ones who saved this country, and we can't pay them or thank them enough. Your thoughts about that?
Words are not enough to say thank you for the selfless sacrifices that these people made. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them have been scarred for life due to the injuries they sustained years ago. But if you ask them, they will tell you that if presented the opportunity, they would do it over again. Because one thing about sacrifice is that to an extent it's not about the money. I think it's about the love that you have for the country. Granted, some things may not be working like we want them to work, with the pace that we expect them to work. But we'll not take it away that Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigeria is an amazing country. And I'm proud to be a Nigerian. I don't know about you, I'm proud to be Nigerian completely. So to all those who have, come out, years ago, sacrifices their time, their effort to being on the battlefield to make this selfless sacrifice, I think this is a point where I say thank you. Thank you. Money can't cut this kind of sacrifice, It takes a lot of selflessness and a huge amount of dedication and love to come out to say, you know what, I want to fight for my country. So thank you to all of you for this beautiful sacrifice.
And for the part of the government to begin to look at those issues that might have bedeviled the armed forces,
right.
Whether it's issue about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that might have been as a result of some of the warfares or battles or ordeals they've gone through, you must look into that. Other soldiers, other armed forces might have gone through pains, trauma, look into those as well. And there is need to upgrade their weapons, their tools for warfare. You can't send them to use machetes when their rivals are using AK-47 and other bombastic weapons to cause harm or to assault them. They must be given state-of-the-art weapons and tools so that they can function optimally. Then for those retired, we're still calling on the government to ensure that their pensions and gratuities are attended to. Remember, many of them who were strong while in their youthful era are weak now due to the trauma or the injuries from war. So we must begin to pay attention to those areas that are needed, to give attention. Also, we can try to make them feel as part and parcel of society. provide for them welfare-wise, those who are in service. Now remember, just to draw back, those who might have retired might look like they are gone, but the ones who are right now on the battlefield, look at those retired and decide whether they should put their strength and their heart into it or not. So treat the retirees very well and treat those who are present equally very well to ensure that we live in a country where indeed our armed forces can protect us. There are many things, many issues really, but tomorrow is January 15, so I guess that we shall have a deeper dive into the conversation about Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Right. But salute, I don't know if it's right for me to do that civilian, or bloody civilian, as some of them would say, but salute to every armed forces, every soldier out there. You are the reason we can even have this show right now. I can't pay your thank you enough. Now, it is the year 2026. I always make the mistake of saying 2025. I have appealed to all my producers, all my directors to forgive me. You know, if during this month of January, I someday say 2025, this is not me being backward. This is just me still, struggling to get used to a new year because it's just 14 days thereafter. I'm crying out loud. At the bank, I know I often write 2025, and I always get this tellers tell me, hey, young man, come here, please correct this and sign by the side. So it's hard for me to really get to reality that we have gotten to a new year and it's 2026 and not 2025. Well, on Street Talk this morning, we had a little walk, checked out people and asked them, what are their expectations for 2026, not 2025? That's on Street Talk. We're back shortly for paper reviews, interviews, and other brilliant things right here on Morning Ride. Stay with us.
Visions or expectations for this year?
Okay, my name is Adewale Adeyemo. My expectation for this year is for a better year, Nigeria as a whole, for myself, my family. Nigeria, a lot of things is going on in this country, insecurity, even in Delta State. You see most places now, Delta State, Asabada is very peaceful. A lot of things going on in Seluku, Ogwashuku, Buluku, kidnapping is going on. So I'm expecting the governors and the federal government to work harder, the security personnel to step up, to go into those places and fish out those kidnappers, those bandits, and make the country, the state, the cities, the town, the villages secured.
Thank you very much.
Adeni Adewale. Thank you.
Okay, Mama, tell us your name.
My name is Nena Lilian Ijegalu.
So what's happening? What's with you this year, 2026? What are your goals? What are your visions? What are your expectations for yourself?
Well, my expectation for this year is bright, and I need the government to improve in the security of the masses. Due to the kidnapping and the other things that are happening around us, I want the government to improve in that one. Two, and I also want the government to improve in the to add skill acquisition for the traders and the youth too. There are many youths here. As you can see, there some are working without no payment. Some of them have no unemployed youth. We have unemployed youth. So I want the government to give them work so that there will be more money for us to use to buy one or two things we need at home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Effiong Oso.
The expectations from the government.
All right, this 2026, right? I'm expecting the government to get down to work.
Government to tackle this aspect of diversion of funds to ensure that projects that are signed and budgeted for will be carried out duly and without any mago-mago, any wayo.
For yourself, what's your vision for yourself?
That's not all for the government. For the government, I expect the government to end godfatherism. And I expect the nation to also do away with tribalism, religious discrimination, segregation, etc., etc. Let's keep our indifferences aside and work together as one. The nation as a whole, Nigeria, is like a child that hasn't gotten a development skill, no handwork, and then gain freedom or independence from the parents. Such a child will be a nuisance in society. That is how the nation Nigeria is. No proper infrastructural facilities in place, no companies, no firms, no good academy, no good hospital, etc., etc. And yet we got our independence too prematurely. We are not developed enough to have the amenities, the infrastructural facilities, etc., etc. We are not developed enough to have that ability to maintain a system, yet we sought the independence too early. It would be wise if this nation is split peacefully. I'm just saying it frankly. Peacefully, if it is split into 4 places, the Shiites, the Arewas, the Duduwa, and the Biafra, then we will know how to manage our resources well and use our head. It's another year now. Our money has lost value. Our money has no value. The economical system is damaged, is rubbish. Please, let's sit up. Let's sit up. The issue of religious discrimination and killings, this has to stop. This has to stop. Please, I'm expecting the government to be up and doing, to sit up this new year 2026, so that we can be great again. Yeah, that's it.
For yourself?
For myself? I expect people like me out in the street to have fair hearing and be safe, press freedom, where we can air out our views innocently and be safe on the street without being murdered or, kidnapped or maimed on the road. I expect equal rights, equity, justice and order. It is when order is not kept, that is when people seek for justice. But if order is adhered to, people wouldn't seek justice. I expect order and justice. I expect safety out there in the street. If you're a driver, please safety, a hustler, whatever job you do, make it legit and make sure there's safety. I expect God to prosper me this year, just as God is about to prosper Nigeria. And lastly, Nigeria as a name was named after River Niger. Come to think of it, there are major rivers in Nigeria, River Benue. So the partiality of naming Nigeria after the Niger River is going to cause fracas, or it's already causing fracas in the realm of the spirit. Let's say marine spirit, Mami water spirit is affecting the Nigeria as a whole. Yes, the River Benue will always jealous River Niger for bearing the name. So I think the name Nigeria should be changed. Simple, short and clear. Change the name Nigeria.
For myself.
Your name first.
Okay, Joel Emmanuel Egbe. What's the next question?
The expectations, your visions, your for yourself.
For 2026, I don't have any expectations. I'm just open. Yeah, you're open to good and bad and ugly. So when you're expectant, that's what brings disappointment. So I'm not expectant. I'm just open.
So from the government,
From the government, I'm not a political person, so I'm not saying anything about it.
It's not about political, it's about you as a citizen of the country. What do you expect the government to do for the citizens?
They should do their best, so the citizens should be alright. That should be alright.
That's just 2 questions.
Alright. Thank you. Now give me a number.
Mama, please, what's your name?
My name is Esther.
Okay, ma, what's your personal expectation for 2026?
Okay, my expectation is I want God to help me. In my business, everything that I'm doing in my family, may God protect us and guide us and give us good health and good job.
So, ma, what's your expectation from the government?
What I expect for government to do is to put effort what is happening in Nigeria now, so in this delta, as like
Continue, ma.
okay, like what I will expect is that may government look down, because
people are suffering, some people are dying in hunger. Like some people are feeding well, but some people, if they ask them to help others, they will not help. May they look down. If they give people that type of job, may they look down, whether the people is doing it or not.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please, what's your name?
Naomi.
So what's your expectation for this year?
Like for myself?
Yeah, your personal expectation.
Probably to do better in my education, like do better in school. Oh, sorry.
So what's your personal expectation this year?
Like to do better on myself, my education, like set better goals to myself and investments, like that.
So what are you expecting from the government?
What let me see? Maybe to make life better for the citizens.
So that's what you're expecting from the government?
It's like to give the citizens like a better life, like to give them like better opportunities, like, so they can make money and like help themselves out. Is that all?
Done well.
Hey.
Thank you.
So, excuse me, how do I start?
Good morning.
Good
What's your
morning.
name?
My name is Precious Godwin.
So please, what's your personal expectation this year?
Okay, for this year, my personal expectation is that I will develop myself to be a better person than I was in the previous years, so I can reach my goals, my targets, which I was unable to meet last year. Also, grow beyond limits, like make myself limitless and be consistent, because inconsistency was one of my shortcomings last year, and I want to go beyond inconsistency this year.
That's nice. So what's your expectation? What are you expecting from the government?
Okay, for the government as a whole, I would love the government to give us a sense of security more. I'm a student, I do go to school and come back. One of my friends was kidnapped on his way back from school. So I would love the government to invest more on the security of the nations and the citizens. Also, in regards to students, like they should create a conducive environment for students to learn. Most times our auditoriums, they have leaking roofs, chairs that are not good, and making the atmosphere for learning not favorable and enjoyable. So I would love the government to invest more in the academic and also security aspect. Also making life easy, like foodstuffs, all these basic necessities, they should be cheaper, so both the poor and the rich can be able to put food on their table. That's what I would love the government to provide for us. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Expectation this 2020, your personal expectation?
My personal expectation from government is say we have better road and water, and make government assist, you understand, and give us better work, you understand, and we have many graduates and they don't have work, and they expect my government give them work for this 2026, so that we not go have lack of job opportunities, you understand, and all people who know the work, you understand, like me now, where they do work, hand work, I depend on government for some reasons, you understand, so that government go give people work. If people get work, we too go to get work, you understand, if work no day, we not go to get work, you understand, that's what I'm expecting from government, apart from good road, water, and security. That's the only thing that they expect from government what they do for us.
So what's your own personal expectation this year? Your own personal, not the government expectation. Your own
My own expectation for this 2026 now to make my life better and improve my work. Understand? I improve my work to modern one. Understand? So that I feel run my life smooth and better my life.
At that point in time was not actually met, and for me I was a little bit angry, but as time goes on we decided to dust our chairs and decided to follow government the way it is, that since federal government, the judiciary has given a particular man to handle the leadership of this country, that we don't have any other choice than to follow. But 2026 is going to be a different trajectory, in the sense that this time around our vote is going to count, and we believe that government should do everything possible to make sure that whatever is our expectation, that it should be met, and whoever we cast our vote should count, and then whatever is our need, the primary need of our people should be met decisively. So what we're expecting that whoever that actually wins this particular 2026 election should be allowed objectively to carry the affairs of this particular nation. We don't want a situation whereby the judiciary and INEC should decide our fate. We want our fate to be decided by us, not them deciding our fate, because we know that everybody belongs to one or two political parties. So our expectation is that the man that won, that is going to win this particular election by free and fair on the ballot, should be allowed to take up the mantle of leadership for now.
So that's your personal expectation?
Yes, that's my personal expectation.
What's your expectation from the government for the people?
My expectation from government to the people is to make sure that there is affordability in all areas of interest. Like you're looking at the new tax law right now. It is not really, we have not really accepted it because of some of the thresholds, some of the anomalies in it. So I am looking at government to make sure that the tax law does not affect the masses. Because for you to tax me, there must be a reason why you are taxing me. You have provided for me. Virtually in Nigeria, we do everything for ourselves. We hire security for ourselves. We open borehole for ourselves. We buy keke for ourselves. We buy motor for ourselves. There is no credit facilities in Nigeria. So why are you not taxing people? Even if you are taxing us, there is reason for you to tax us. Let that taxing not be an impediment, an issue to us. So that is my problem. And also, in Nigeria here, we have a whole lot of issues that has to do with housing. The housings are too cumbersome. The rent is too cumbersome. People could not pay rent anymore. People could not even get, in those days when I was a little kid, we used to go to pipe-borne water and drink. But these days, you virtually buy everything like your pure water. So if government is going to tax me for anything, government should make provision for me. Over there in the United States, like other people, if you are sick, if there are any issue, you don't need to pay money. Once you have your credit facility, you don't need to pay money for somebody to come and take care of you. First of all, let that person be alive first before we begin to talk about payment. But here we don't have that kind of credit facility. So I expect government to at least put some infrastructure that people can access, hospital, school. Now look at what is happening when it comes to school. For somebody to go to school now, you must go to private school, and private school is something else. Government should make school affordable. They should make hospital affordable. They should make most of those basic things affordable. To even buy food now is a problem. Somebody was telling me the other day that a bag of rice is now 50-something thousand. I said, are you okay? Is this supposed to be 50-something thousand? That ordinary person cannot even buy pure water to drink at this time around. So I'm expecting government to bring down a whole lot of things to the minimum aspect so that people can at least get what they can use. So that's my expectation.
Thank you so much. So we've heard from the streets what the people are saying concerning their expectations for 2026 for themselves and from the government. What is your own expectation? You can share with us. Okay, it's been Street Talk. My name is Eunice Emeazia. Bye for now.
J Male make it juicy.
Welcome again to One edition of the program, Morning Ride. I hope you had a wonderful time seeing what we had as regards street talk, expectations for a short time will tell, but I'll tell you that first and foremost, work on yourself, believe in yourself, and then do the things that would make the year different than the previous ones in a better way. Now we've moved on. It's time for us to look at the papers and the headlines. With us right here is Comrade Henry. We'll see.
Good morning.
Sports maestro, and one who is very concerned about current affairs. He would be looking at the papers with us this morning. His own perspectives. The papers, the Punch, the Vanguard, the Sun, many of them this morning.
Katsina treats terror for stability. The controversial prisoner swaps. Eboma riot sponsored from abroad. Now this is coming from Edo government. And the rider says Obebolo visits fire scene, promises to rebuild burnt shops. US boosts Nigeria terror fight, delivers military supplies. US AFRICOM delegation meets Marwa, assures NDLEA of enhanced collaboration and support. And then we have a photo speaks from the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week 2026, and also featured is the #1 citizen of our country, the president of our beloved country. And then at the bottom strip of the Daily Sun newspaper, it says federal government budget 1.3 trillion naira for police formations commands. Wages to GOP 256.3 billion naira from humanitarian ministries, 462 billion naira budget. Governors getting high allocations have no place to hide. This is coming from Oborewori. Soludo approved 16.7 billion naira for infrastructural projects. Orders enforcement of road setbacks in dual carriageways. And lastly, looking at the Daily Sun newspaper, it says herdsmen kill woman and 4 others in Benue community.
All right, next on the review this morning, we have the Daily Trust newspaper. The big headline here on the Daily Trust newspaper says, Kwankwaso backs temporary APC shifts. Big headline here. Kwankwaso backs temporary APC shift. At the top strip, how my wife died after doctors left scissors in her stomach. Quite sad. US delivers critical military supplies to Nigeria. These are 2 stories at the top strip, and then at the side of the photo strip, we have Nigeria UAE signed deal to waive tariffs on 7,000 Nigerian products. Ex-PDP assembly candidates, 4 others killed in Benue. Protest, Edo governor orders release of AAU students. So those are the stories that we'll look at on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
The Daily Independent is next with US delivers new military support to boost Nigeria's insecurity fight. No disrespect intended. Olubadan dismisses claims of snubbing Alafin. And the major story Independent says Nigeria cotton textile sector under severe strain. Stakeholders seek urgent coordinated long-term reforms. One ailing CTG sector threat to industrialization and livelihood. And by the side of the photo speaks there, it says DCI hired by federal government promotes Nigeria's moves to protect Christians. PDP Horiwa demand release of 52 students protesting insecurity in Edo State. Fubara should see Wike as leader. This is coming from Fayoshe. Insists that Obi is the only person that matters in ADC. Uzodinma to establish Nigeria's first robotic surgical center in Imo State. Federal government disburses 2.5 billion naira each to public varsities, 1.8 billion naira to police, and 2 billion naira to COEs. Kwankwaso makes U-turn, backs Abba Yusuf's planned APC defection. And at the bottom strip, it says Tinubu court foreign investment for $30 billion green energy boom. And lastly, court nullifies PDP Gurba primary in Ekiti.
All right, our next paper this morning, the New Telegraph newspaper. The big headline here says, Counter-terrorism, US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. At the top strip, World Bank retains Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast at 4.4%. Underneath the photo speak, NCAA to crack down on airlines over chronic delays, poor handling of passengers. And then there is a study here, sugary drinks increase risk of diseases in children. Say no to soda and otherwise called Nera for your children. Let's look at our next paper this morning.
All right, the next is the Nigerian Tribune, and it says, Our Church Massacre, DSS lists 10 witnesses, tenders more documentary evidences. And on AFCON semis, I fear Osimhen, Iwobi, and Lukman. This is coming from the Morocco coach. NFF chairman allays fears over officiating. And then at the bold headline right here on the Nigerian Tribune says, US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. 129 terrorists arrested, 55 killed, 309 hostages rescued in Kwara and Kogi. This is coming from the police. Olabisi Olabanjo's wife, Lucia, dies at 100 years. Tinubu Abiodun pays tribute. After protest, Shippers Council orders shipping companies to suspend fee hike. Ekiti poll, court nullifies PDP governorship primary, orders fresh exercise. Federal government begins implementation ahead of agreement signing with ASU. NIWA to acquire barges and vessels with 10.3 billion naira in 2026. To dredge 100-kilometer waterways with 1.8 billion naira. Concerns as NAQS allocates 385 million naira to social project amid Nigeria's food export challenges. And lastly, on health, an expert says sugary drinks increase risk of heart disease in children.
All right, next paper, the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper has the big headline here, says US delivers critical military assets to battle terrorist bandits. At the bottom of the strip, Okwegbolo orders release of AAU students arrested after protest. At the top strip, legal disputes, Nestle, Nekonde refutes false, misleading narratives by lenders. And just underneath the masthead, we have 1.8 trillion naira set aside to pay federal contractors. The writer says boosts for local firms. And then there's this one that says, our church bombing, witnesses identify attackers in court. Attackers in court. The judge quits commissioner's terrorism financing case. Court orders fresh PDP governorship primary in Ekiti. Second Republic Ogun State governor's wife, Lucia Onubanjo, dies at 101. Finally, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, Tinubu targets $30 billion green finance to boost electricity access. Our next paper.
The Punch newspaper is next with these headlines. 2027, ADC faction eyes Jonathan, Saraki, Makinde alliance. Counter-insurgency. US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. Nigeria, UAE scrap tariffs on over 13,000 goods. Governors budget 525 billion naira for security as killing spread. Security votes jump 40% since 2023. Borno, Anambra, Delta records highest budgets. Northeast and Southeast lead. And then lastly, on the 2026 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day.
All right, let's get back to the studio. Time is really moving really fast. We can't look at all the papers this morning. Let's get back here to Comrade Henry Siayo. I know he's eager to look at these stories. On the Daily Sun newspaper, this one has been trending for a while. Yeah. So it means that so Bendel do they carry last, I guess. Ekpo Marayo, sponsored from, is coming from the Edo State government. The writer here says, visits fire scene, promises to rebuild burned shops. That's just at the top strip of the Daily Sun newspaper. Squint very hard. You see it just by the side of the masthead. right there. And the story thrived all through the papers today. Different headlines, but we saw the governor of Edo State making a very strong stance against the protest. He described it as organized. Therefore, he paraded. We saw videos where some people were paraded and somebody was shouting in the background, "These are students arrested." Yeah. Then we saw the SUG president coming to say they were not students after all. As well as I saw one of the lecturers coming to say that. We saw other headlines saying that the governor eased some of the students who are arrested. So there is a confusion. You are the journalist, so we need to hear from you this morning.
Edo State, if you notice, has been on the news for some time, especially clashes between the communities, indigent of the communities, and sometimes the Fulani herdsmen. We saw a couple of days where the indigent of the Edo State took to the streets to also protest that the Fulani herdsmen should leave their domain. But for Edo State, and of course, reminiscing to what happened last year when some hunters killed by indigenous of Edo State, and of course, Obeolo had to go and apologize all the way from Edo State to Kano State. But in Edo State, I think if Obeolo is saying that the protest is being sponsored by those outside the country, abroad rather, then he should be able to tell us the people that are sponsoring it, because if you must allege, then you must bring a proof. So to me, I think it's just trying to bring in politics into this, and of course try to water down what I feel that is a lapses from him. Because as a chief security officer of Edo State, you have the right to give any order. And of course, if there is a breach of order in any part of your state, you take the bull by the horn, not looking for fault from other people. Take the bull by the horn, and if you feel that somebody is sponsoring it, come on, there is already collaboration. We have Interpol, which is the international police. Let them extradite that person you feel to come and face the law. So I would advise Obeolo to actually face the issue squarely, because for some time now, Edo State have become a boiling point between Fulani herders and of course indigenous of some of the communities, namely Uromi. Sometimes we've seen Uromi and the rest. So the best way for Obeolo is to make sure they fight this to a standstill. If for them to a round table, and of course it's like where one of the states where we have majority of the South. Yes. So these are the issues, the conflicting issues we are having in the Edo State. And if this is not properly checked, we might have something that could escalate to something else. So I think it is time for the governor to stand by, and of course the Oba to come to a consensus and see how this issue will be stopped. Talking about the students that were arrested, and of course our section denying that they were not students, our video trended also where the SUG president was right there with Obeolo, and of course they were chanting solidarity song for him, calling him leader, the past leader, for releasing some of those students. So some section are saying these are not students, while some section are saying these are students. But one thing is certain: whenever there is protest, there is bound to be, if it's not properly checked, you might see some persons trying to hijack it either politically or to foment trouble. So whenever you want to make a protest, you should ensure that you know yourself, and of course don't allow other people to come and hijack it, and of course by so doing they defeat the purpose of the protest.
All right, thank you so much. I think you were right when you said go after the ones who sponsored the protest, because I'm still considering the fact that those who were not students who were picked, are they not humans? Are students some elite force that should not be touched as compared to other, should I say, commoners?
No.
In Edo State? Because I'm not a student and somebody, motivated me some kind of way to protest over something I don't find appealing, does that make me now the devil and student the elevated one?
No, I think that's something we will not actually fail to properly deal with in the Nigeria. Some persons protest and they go scot-free, while some protest and of course they are being arrested, especially when it is actually what either they are fighting for their right or they want to point out an anomaly. And of course this is actually not right, and I think there is need for proper interpretation of who should protest and what should lead to protesters being arrested. So this
shops that were burned.
Arrested. So this
shops that were burned. People had their weave on. People had their weave on. That was what people was saying. Government people of Edo State was saying. But we need to really have clarity, just like you have noted. Those who sponsored, if you allege, you must prove it's constitutional. You are legislating. You must go indeed and fish. If they are even outside the country and you name them,
they should.
It's not defamation.
No.
If you have truth,
yeah,
that's evidence against defamation. If you have truth, that's not a defamation. No. If indeed you gather your evidence and outside the country, the same Edo State was on the news not long ago because of the governor of the state.
Probably that is what he to talk about, because for you to say those are in abroad are the ones sponsoring it, it means you have you are the chief security officer, you have all the details at your beck and call. So why not let this out, call the names, because I'm really I wasn't actually happy the way he said that instead of you to face the issue squarely and look for a lasting solution, pointing accusing fingers.
The diaspora.
Okay, looking at the Punch newspaper, this headline here says governor's budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Security votes jump 40% since 2023. Borno, Anambra, Delta record highest budgets. Northeast and Southeast lead. So what's your take on it? Because security has been one issue that's been bothering the country. Like 2025, we almost had it like on a daily basis. And then if not for the intervention of foreign allies, it would have been the order of the day.
Yeah, and still intervening. We just saw the United States of America delivering critical weapons to Nigeria, and of course they are using the word critical because in journalism you don't divulge your arsenals or your ammunition because the enemies might use it against you. So it's actually a very good one for governors to begin to realize the need to actually tackle security in their domain. You don't have to wait for the federal government to create this security budget for you, but you know what you have. For instance, our neighboring state, Anambra State, they have various security outfits that are actually synergizing with the police and of course other security agencies to fight crime. They have the Agony Chamber and the rest. Right here in Delta State, they are actually giving criminals a run for their activities. Some couple of weeks ago, the new police commissioner of police, CP Adeshola Aino, just a few days he assumed office, he actually spoke with journalists where they had to go and arrest a notorious criminal, and of course they traced him all the way to Port Harcourt. And of course, from Port Harcourt, it was an interstate operation. From Port Harcourt, they caught him. They recovered some arms. He took them to Abayasa, where they recovered some arms, and brought them to Delta State, where they recovered some arms. These are made possible because the state government is paying attention to security. So it's really, really key that state governors begin to teach towards security, because if your state is not secure, there is bound to be no meaningful development and of course no investment. So everybody is now security conscious, not waiting for the federal government, but rather looking how inwardly to see how they can boost their security and of course attract.
Away from being security conscious, which is very, very important, we all have to be security conscious. It's no longer business as usual.
Of course.
Is there any way that we can, if not 100%, but to a large extent, nip in the bud the nefarious activities of these people who go ahead making this community, the environment, the society insecure for Nigerians, for Deltans, to stay?
Yeah, it starts from us. It starts from you. If you see something, say something. The police keep saying it, give vital information. When you see when you're living with a neighbor that you say, let's say close to 2 years, you know what this person did, then all of a sudden he has bought a car, there should be need for questioning. Because I'm telling you, because this is where we have it wrong. We just feel like Grace, small man, big God. No, it's not small man, big God. What is your source of income? If we can be able to trace your source of income, then good and fine. We've seen kidnappers demanding 200 million naira for ransom. Why? Because some persons, you feel there was one kidnapper that was picked up sometimes last year, and what he stays in Asaba here, but he sells in Onitsha. So what he does, he goes there and come back. Then you feel that is his business. No, they have some other business, and of course, a lot of persons are glorifying internet fraudsters. No, it's not. Some of them have got into kidnapping, hiding under the guise of internet fraud, which we must definitely condemn at all time. So it starts from us. If we have to see a secure Delta, a well-secured Nigeria, then it is high time we start to see, and of course speak out whenever we find anybody that is not from that area or any foul movement within our own territory.
All right, Comrade Henry, there are many headlines to look at, but our time is almost up and you have to run, really. Yeah. One of the reasons you have to run, if I must expose, is that on radio 97.9, Voice of Delta, Henry will be doing sports at 9 o'clock sharp. So we have a few minutes to go for that. Before you run away to do sports, let me bring a sports team to your table. And that's the AFCON semis, where the Moroccan coach has said, I fear Osimhen, it will be Lukman. I also saw a video or something where the coach of the Super Eagles said he was going to calm down on his high pressing and try to let the players rest a bit because they have been overly worked. So let's just hear your 2 cents.
Yeah, in football, the coaches they play what we call mind games because that's the only way he could put his opponent under checks and balance. If you say he fears Lukman, Osimhen, and of course Iwobi, he definitely is trying to play a mind game, and of course he might get into the Super Eagles coach head, and of course push them forward. And of course for Eric Chel saying he's not going to press hard, yes, he's also playing a mind game because you don't divulge what you want to do. Right. Since Eric Chel took over, he has been having training section behind closed doors, and of course it's actually working for him. A situation whereby there will be no distraction from the press and of course the rest.
Content creators.
Yeah, content creators. So as it stands now, all Nigerians are actually praying for the Super Eagles to actually make us proud, and of course, just like what Iwobi said in his pre-match conference, that we are going to play against the 12th men of Morocco. So the 11 men on the pitch, and of course the crowd that will be on their high voice, and of course to distract the players. But in all, I would say that the Super Eagles have actually done well. They've done well for themselves, but let's see what happens.
Are you confident the way you're saying?
Sure, I'm very much confident of what I've seen so far, especially the pattern of game Eric Chel brings into play, and of course how important he is.
So we're gonna win?
Yeah, to me, I'm very, very confident that we're going to win, but I envisage that game might go into penalty shootout.
Oh, well. Okay, I'll let the man run so he can talk more about this on 97.9, a radio arm, the Voice of Delta. So you'll be hearing Henry Usiayo, the sports magistrate there. You've done well on paper reviews this morning. Thank you so much for reviewing those papers. Morning Ride continues shortly. Stay with us. Other packages, interviews, good conversations, only on Wednesday's Morning Ride. Do stay.